So do they go back, back to the well with Trump, or do they present an opportunity for Joe Biden?
So there's a couple of pieces to that, right? Because you look at this number, 35% that Steve has pointed.
If y'all don't get Joe ass out of here, just get him out of here, for health conditions, before it even has to come. But let's just get him out of here before it's time.
Out here, based on the exit polls, roughly half that may be support for President Biden, right? Some of these Democrats are more Democrat.
What up, YouTube? What up, YouTube? You clicked the title, you read the page. Super Tuesday. It's time to talk about it. I'm not really into politics, but the older I get, it's becoming very, very concerning. As a kid, you don't really care. You're a kid, who cares who's the president? Who cares? You're a kid, you don't care. But I'm in my 30s, and I pay taxes. I file taxes. I do this. I do that. I'm grown. It's like when you're in your 20s, life is fun. When you turn 30, you like, oh, ish. Politics matter. I have to vote now. Believe it or not, I've never voted. I am 31 years old. I've never voted, and for the first time in my life, I'm going to vote. Who are you going to vote for, TT? I'm about to piss a lot of people off. I'm going to vote for Trump. Sorry. Gays for Trump. Subscribe for the vibe. Let's get to it.
Further with NBC's senior Washington correspondent Hallie Jackson and our man at the board, national political correspondent Steve Kornacki. Guys, good morning. It was a late night for y'all. Let's look at Nikki Haley's results. She won Vermont. That's her bright spot. It is a very dim bright spot in an otherwise sea of red. What do you take away from these numbers?
Yeah, as you mentioned, we'll show you Vermont here. This was Haley's
Yo, do you see Trump numbers? It's crazy.
Own primary win here. It is a small state, as we know. Look at that, about 70,000 votes coming out of Vermont. So she gets to tout that she got a win, but those numbers are just dwarfed by what you see elsewhere on this map. I'll give you good.
I don't like that Nikki bitch. Give a fuck. I said what I said. I don't like her. It's something about her I don't like her. She when they was doing the debate, she said something. It rubbed me the wrong way. Her and there was another dude that was running. I think the Larry guy. I ain't like him neither. So yeah, whatever.
Example here, though, what the Haley folks, I think, were hoping for was a state like Virginia last night, because if you look at Virginia, you got those big population dense Northern Virginia suburbs outside of D.C. You got big suburbs.
Virginia, yo, listen, my shorty lives in Virginia. My shorty from Virginia. I'm in and out of Virginia because of that. Virginia don't want no fucking Nikki. We don't know. Virginia Virginia people want to smoke the dope, have a good time. Virginia want money. They about money. It's a money. I told my hairstylist, she's from Virginia. I said, yo, one thing I love about Virginia folks, they work. They gonna work their ass off. Shout out to the 757. Shout out to the whole Virginia. They gonna work. Motherfuckers work. Motherfuckers like money. On here, but Nikki got to talk about. Get your ass up out of here, mama.
Outside of Richmond. She's been doing so well in the suburbs. And I think if she'd been performing like she did early in New Hampshire and South Carolina, this is the kind of state she could have put in play last night. And what ended up happening was, you see, she gets 35%, loses by 28 points. And it seems like it raises the question here. After South Carolina, as this thing expanded to multiple states on the same day, was there a bit of an energy that was behind her earlier that kind of went away here, where there's some Republicans who said, okay, I was open to Haley, but it's time to circle the wagons with Trump? Were there fewer independents and Democrats crossing over? Those are some of the questions that are raised here. But yes, she does in a state like Virginia still get 35%. There's a few other states, Colorado on here. She got a third of the vote. And, as we say, overall, she'll end up winning 2 primaries in this. And she will be able to say that she did get a fairly significant number of votes, obviously dwarfed by Trump.
Well, this brings us to Hallie, because that 35%, 40% in New Hampshire, whatever, there's a sliver of the Republican primary electorate that didn't want to vote for someone named Trump.
It's not zero.
No, right. So do they go back, back to the well with Trump, or do they present an opportunity for Joe Biden?
So there's a couple of pieces to that, right? Because you look at this number, 35% that Steve has pointed.
If y'all don't get Joe ass out of here, just get him out of here, for health conditions, before it even has to come. But, let's just get him out of here before it's time.
Out here, based on the exit polls, roughly half that may be support for President Biden, right? Some of these Democrats are more Democrat-leaning independents who crossed over and voted for Nikki Haley. They might not go for her in a general election, given that it looks like it's going to be Donald Trump versus Joe Biden here. The Haley campaign, I think, will be looking to see what is Donald Trump going to do to try to win over that slice of the Republican Party. And it's a question that I asked a bunch of Republican officials just over the course of the last 12 hours here. Can Nikki Haley come back? Can her voters come back into that MAGA fold, if you will? Is Donald Trump going to put out any of those olive branches to them? For President Biden, maybe an opportunity here to pick off at least some of those voters. Remember, he only needs some. This is probably not going to be a blowout election based on where the numbers are. We're talking the tiniest of margins, so that's why this matters.
Well, and you know this better than anyone, Steve. The primary electorate, people who show up to vote in a primary, is very different than those who show up to vote in a general election. So what can you learn and what should you not overlearn from a night like last night?
Yeah, it is. They can be red herrings. And in fact, what I think the biggest lesson is very counterintuitive, but I think the biggest lesson to emerge from these Republican primaries and Haley supporting it is about how motivated a core of the Democratic Party base is, because in so many of these states, Democrats and independents could come in and vote. And as Haley was saying, there's a lot of evidence they did in pretty big numbers here, especially in the suburbs. And if Joe Biden's going to have a chance to knock off Trump this November, it's going to be in the suburbs of the swing states. And I think what you saw is a very motivated anti-Trump.
White people. Shout out to my white people, you know what I mean? That's pretty much what that is. Suburbs, white people mainly. The fuck, we ain't gonna sit here and sugarcoat it.
Trump Democratic base vote that looked at this Republican primary in a lot of states, had a chance to go vote based on the rules and said, I want to go out there and vote against Donald Trump. Those voters, that speaks to an energy in those suburbs for Democrats that under certain circumstances this fall could be a turnout advantage for them.
It's interesting. Trump brings the energy out in both parties. Yeah. We'll see how it all plays as we go along here. Hallie and Steve, thank you. Big nap for both of you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel.
Yo, y'all drop a comment, man. Let me know your thoughts. Who you voting for? Let me know your thoughts on Super Tuesday. Let me see what CNN talking about. They said she dropped out of the race. Oh! Let's listen.
Good morning. Just over a year ago, I launched my campaign for president. When I began, I said the campaign was grounded in my love for our country. Just last week, my mother, a first-generation immigrant, got to vote for her daughter for president. Only in America. I am filled with the gratitude for the outpouring.
Shut your ass up. Only in America the president could be arrested and still run for president, as you can see. Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. This country ghetto as hell. Shut up. I love this ghetto-ass country, but it's ghetto.
Support we've received from all across our great country. But the time has now come to suspend my campaign. I said I wanted Americans to have their voices heard. I have done that. I have no regrets. And although I will no longer be a candidate, I will not stop using my voice for the things I believe in. Our national debt will eventually crush our economy. A smaller federal government is not only necessary for our freedom, it is necessary for our survival. The road to socialism is the road to ruin for America. Our Congress is dysfunctional and only getting worse. It is filled with followers, not leaders. Term limits for Washington politicians are needed now more than ever. Our world is on fire because of America's retreat. Standing by our allies in Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan is a moral imperative. But it's also more than that. If we retreat further, there will be more war, not less. As important, while
blah blah blah, you dropped the race. You lost. Get your losing ass up out of here. Y'all subscribe for the vibe. I'm out.